All right, so this video is supposed to help you with checkpoints 3 and 4 if you're still working towards that on your project. So checkpoints 3 and 4, as a reminder, this is where you're going to submit your data and you're going to do your data cleaning and univariate analysis. And really this should say descriptives. So originally my plan was to have you submit this in the actual Google Slides, which is why I made slides for it. However, in retrospect, I think that it makes more sense for us to do this in a discussion board because the idea of the slides is that we are trying to come up with our presentation, the thing we'll eventually show to the class, and one of the things we don't really need to present to the entire class is what our data set looks like, because a data set is boring as hell. So in terms of these slides, the only one you may want to keep in terms of your project is maybe instead of having your data slide, is keeping one slide, and this will encompass slides 6, 7, 8, 9, essentially. And you're just going to do some descriptions of what your data set is. And a lot of the stuff in your slides, by the way, bullet points in the end are what you're going to want for presentation instead of big paragraphs of text. For now, paragraphs of text have been good because they've been able to communicate with me. But as we move towards the presentation, we're going to kind of cull those and move towards a real presentation with bullet points. So you might want to say like, and was, God damn it, stop capitalizing, Google, equals 60, or maybe we surveyed 60 MESA students, whatever it might be. Sorry guys, I'm using your slide, you can delete this. And then some descriptives of like maybe I'd even do 2 different text boxes here. And insert text box, boom, 1, insert text box, boom, another one, and have my categorical variables and my quantitative variables as separate text boxes. And all you want to do here is give people a quick look at what the data you collected was. So here you may choose to just do bullet points, 50% female, and just kind of summarize all your variables right here. You can also put in other option would be a frequency table. Oh my God. Of your different categorical variables. And the nice thing is if you're in StatCrunch and you do a table of frequency, you can choose more than one. So you can have your frequency tables where it kind of shows you each of them at the same time. So that's a possibility. And then your quantitative variables, again, you probably want to put in your summary stats. So again, in StatCrunch, this is actually even easier. Oh, this group's data is messed up, so let me try a group where I don't think I have any problems. Okay, so this group has quantitative data and there's no issues going on. So if I did summary stats for columns, you could put something like this into your presentation. And maybe we don't need all of these things. Like we don't play around with variance. Maybe we just want to show the mean, standard deviation, min, Q1, where's my median? Median, Q3, and max. And so I wanted those to be in order, but I could also reorder these separately. But this way I can just, at a glance, someone knows that we had these variables, sleep per night. In our particular sample, the average was 6 with a median of 6. Hours of study per week was a mean of 11 with a median of 6. And if I wanted to, I could even put some descriptives in there about like when we looked at the histogram, we saw that hours studied per week was skewed to the right. And just putting in those sorts of things. So that's all I want in your actual presentation. In the end is maybe some summary stats, any observations. If you feel like an overachiever, throwing maybe a histogram or something in there. But there's no reason to give me a pie chart or anything unless you find it particularly interesting for your categorical variables. Like we just want a quick little, hey, here's a glance at what our data looked like. Which means that you can get rid of the data cleaning slide. Now, a lot of students have asked me, what does the data cleaning slide mean? Now, if you're a group like group 8 here, you don't really have a lot of data cleaning to do. Your data looks like it was pretty clean when it was entered. But this group 3 data holy heck does it need some love. Because you look here, we have all sorts of issues we can already see. Work hours. A lot of people put NA, none, 0. So either I'm going to choose all the NAs and change those to just like missing, right? So anybody who said not at all, maybe I'm just going to delete those. Or maybe I want to have it be 0, but if I want to see how like maybe work hours for those who do work impact something, I might want to delete the 0. So it really is up to this group how they want to handle it. But I need to get rid of people who wrote, I work 5 hours and gave me whole sentences. Thank you, but I don't need that. I want this to be a nice quantitative variable with just numbers in it. Same thing with hours studied. Great, thanks for the 20. And then you get things like 3 to 5. Well, if you want, you just take an average and you make that 4. If you don't want, you can just delete that, right? You just need to make your decisions. So this data cleaning, these types of decisions that you're making, they're very important, right? To get rid of all these people, to anybody who gave me a weird range to just choose the middle of it, or somebody who gave me 15 plus to either delete them or just make them 15. Whatever the heck you might be doing, this is why I decided to make this not a slide, because this is, again, not stuff you usually present, though you could. You could say, okay, here were some of the issues we ran into, and some, I mean, I did say potential limitations is an important part of your project. So you might have some, like a data limitation section instead of data cleaning, right? You might say, many students gave a range of study hours. That's a possible issue. And what did we do about it? So that's a possibility. But again, this is part of the reason why I decided to move from slides 6 through 9 or whatever, to instead have us just do this in a discussion board. So that way we could just say what we had done, had it somewhere, and I can give you points. So that's what the checkpoints 3 and 4 are, discussion board, which you'll find in week 14. So there's 2 things you need to do in this discussion board. If you click through to it, you need to create a thread, and you'll just name this after your group. And then you'll go ahead and just copy and paste the StatCrunch link, because I have that login, so I'll be able to see it. Our data. If you want to make it hyperlink, I'm able to copy and paste, so you don't have to, but you have a button up here at the top, so you can turn this into a hyperlink. I'd always like to open in a new window. And then here's where I would also like, so this is the only thing you would need as a first place. I'll just make this example. Submit. So once one person has done that for your group, you guys have all earned the data submission checkpoint. You all get your 5 out of 5 points. Now what needs to happen next is each person needs to go in and do their own data cleaning and univariate analysis. And the idea here is that I'm going to keep group 3 from having one person have to do all this work of cleaning the data. So for every variable in group 3, they're going to have to go in and say, okay, so group 3, messy data. If I'm one of the people in group 3, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm up next. I'm going to deal with this terrible work hours variable. That's what I'm going to handle. So work hours. And if I try to do what I'm supposed to do, which it says here, I need to look at one variable. If it's categorical, create a frequency table and a bar pie chart. If it's quantitative, do the summary, stats, and histogram. If I try to do that on work hours as it is now, if I try to like make a histogram, it's going to give me some issues. Oh, actually it ran it without any problem. Ooh, that's actually kind of worse. So I'm not even going to notice that there are problems with my data. Where's my clear? Oh, it actually put the 10 with the 10 hours? Or no? No, it didn't. So everybody in these weird categories doesn't get counted. Sorry, I'm just thinking aloud. So anyways, if I have work hours, I'm going to look down this column and go, oh crap, we had some problems. So I'm going to go ahead and say, all right, I need to do those 2 pieces. I need to clean up my data. So I'm going to make a note here. Work hours had many students who put none or NA. Also Also, students gave ranges. So I deleted or set to 0, whichever you decide, all the nuns, all the people who weren't working, and I gave everyone who reported a range the middle value. As that would be the average, and we asked for average hours of work work a week. So then I would come in here. I am not having a blah blah blah. I'm assuming it says I don't work, so I'm gonna delete that. 7.5. I worked at, what the hell, children? Why are you giving me so much information? Control C. I'm just gonna put this up here so I can read it. I worked at least 2 to 3 hours. Well, the at least makes me want to go with the 3 on that one, you weirdo. Okay. Keep going. 4 hours for, what the heck? That's the only thing is you can't see it on. 4 hours for all classes combined. Okay. 25. Let's make this 17.5. Let's make this 3.5. Oops. 3.5. This might not be hours of work. It might be hours. I don't know. What the heck. And then delete these 2 zeros. My husband needs to stop calling me. All right. So now this data set is clean. And now I can actually go do my summary stats on the hours worked, weekly average. Copy and paste this into my discussion board post. Run the summary, blah, 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 blah. Cool. So, boop, got that in there. And I also need to make a histogram. So histogram. Great. This one's a pain in the butt. I'm going to do this stupid snipping tool. So grab my histogram. Come on now. You can do it. You can do it. So got my thing. Save it as... I don't know why there's a pink thing. My computer's not keeping up with me. Oh my god. It does not like it. I'll put that there. Save. And then I can go ahead and embed that too. So I can add my picture. Browse. Pictures. Work hours. Beautiful. Ugh, it's waiting. Sorry. I don't care. All right, so I've got everything in there, and now that data is clean. And what I need to make sure I do, here's the most important thing, make sure that you go back and save the data so that all that work you did cleaning it is still there. I'm not going to save this because I'll make group 3 do that same work and decide if they want to make those zeros or empty. But that is checkpoints 3 and 4. One student is going to post the thread. Every other student is going to do this piece. You're all going to reply with a new variable. I would like all the variables to be cleaned. If somebody's going to cover more than one, they can just do it in the same like little reply thing. They don't need to do separate threads for each one. But that's the goal, is to take some data that looks like this, nah, and change it to 0. Also, if you look at this, we have O's instead of zeros for the children, and only one person has any children at all in this particular sample. So this might be a variable that you guys just decide right now to delete and not include in any part of our analyses, because this one person is not going to be enough for us to say anything about it. But anyways, I wanted to give you some guidance. If you're still working toward checkpoints 3 or 4, don't worry too much about the slides themselves. You can, just give some quick summary of your data. That's the only thing I want in your slides for your presentation, and do the actual checkpoints 3 and 4 in Blackboard in that discussion board.